What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Glory. Today's footage again guys is off stream. I've been streaming a little bit the fair few days and I like to stream The Road to Glory because when I'm playing games right now, there's no point in me playing on my main account because I want to just learn for FUT champs. I want to just get better for FUT champs. And I have to do that on my Road to Glory. So what you're going to see today, and maybe a double upload late tonight, is just lots of gameplay. Of course, I have like by the time you're watching this, the rewards are out. This actually might be a double upload on Thursday, so that I can get the rewards out for Friday. Like, I'm going to try my best to try and get as much out as possible. Now, I don't know if you want to see this gameplay, right? Because obviously it doesn't really mean anything. This is just me playing with the team, practicing FUT champs, trying to figure out what players I like, what players I don't, and improve the team where possible. I've been trying a fair few things with, you know, formations, chem styles, tactics, custom tactics, player instructions. And if you guys want me to kind of run you through that sort of stuff and show you the gameplay, great. If you don't, let me know in the comment section because I could just stream this stuff and then not have it as part of the video sequence. The only thing that will mean is that there may be occasions where it's like, hold on, yesterday's video he had like 20 less wins and 50,000 more coins. What happened? Like, you know, it's going to leave gaps in the series and I don't really want to do that, which is why I'm showing everything. Now, in the last video, actually 2 videos ago, we spoke about momentum scripting and handicap, which is where I've got the comments for today's videos from. There was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of people believe it, a lot of people don't believe it, and I want to talk about it a little bit more today again, taking and addressing some of your guys' comments and concerns, and trying to add rational thought to them without opposing my opinion. Like, you know, because as you guys know, in my opinion, there is no scripting, no momentum, no handicap. Well, momentum's a funny one for me because I'm in the air about momentum. I feel like I do feel momentum in the game. I feel there are certain points in games where I feel on fire, and there are certain points in games where things go against me just inexplicably. And I have a theory behind why that would be the case. So I do want to talk about that again today. One of the first things I want to talk about, however, is James Whitley said, totally agree with you, Nep, about the whole scripting didn't exist thing, and the whole morale thing sounds very plausible, but bear in mind that video that was talking about morale was not an official EA video, even though it was on an official EA website. The guy that made it was just a YouTuber and that was his opinion, so it could very well be true, it could also very well be false, right? We don't know. He says, but what is your opinion on the fact that if it is a 45th minute and the 90th minute and you shoot 9 out of 10 times you will score? Well, I don't believe 9 out of 10 times you will score. I think you've just made those stats up. However, it is a common perception that 45th and 90th minute is cheese areas for goals. There was a Ronaldo every goal in a minute. There was a picture posted to me from Marius Herbsith, who obviously works for EA. And it's about the goals that Ronaldo scores, how many he scored and what minute he scored them in. And that's important because he's scored a goal in every single minute of a football game now. And let me tell you this, the times of the games where he's scored most of his goals are the 90th minute, the 45th minute. So he's scored most of his goals in his career. For example, he scored 6 goals in his career in the 13th minute. However, he scored 12 goals in his career in the 45th minute and 22 goals in the 90th minute. So it goes to the same thing that happens in FIFA. And in my opinion, one of the main reasons this happens is because we can all agree, and specifically in FIFA, the 90th minute is the longest minute. It has, like, you know, the 74th minute, once one in-game minute passes, it clicks over to the 75th minute. In the 90th minute, once one in-game minute passes, it's still the 90th minute. Once a second in-game minute passes, it's still the 90th minute. So there is a higher % chance of you scoring in the 45th and 90th minute, literally instantly, before we take into consideration anything else, just because it's the longest minute, there is a higher chance. What was really interesting about Ronaldo's goal times, his second and third highest goal scoring times came at the 23rd minute and the 68th minute, and you might think that just doesn't mean anything. However, the 23rd minute is obviously the 23rd minute of the first half. The 68th minute is the 23rd minute of the second half. So he has an incredible trend where his goals typically come, like, he has a higher percentage chance of scoring in the 23rd minute, the 45th minute, or of the second half, the 23rd minute and the 45th minute. How insane is that? It sparked some interest for me. what I did is I took all the goals from this video, and I'm going to mark this going forwards. I'm going to try and create a usable spreadsheet of things going forwards where I can track results and goal times and goals scored and stuff. But I did it for I went back and watched this video back and basically marked down when I scored all of my goals. And when the goals were scored, not necessarily just my goals, just in general when the goals were scored in the games. And I won, of the 12 games here today, I won 11 of these games. I lost the very 12th game. And there was 44 goals in total. There was 1 goal in many minutes. There were 2 goals in the 33rd minute. There were 2 goals in the 45th minute. There were 2 goals in the 55th minute. There were also 2 goals scored in the 70th and 71st minute. And then there were 3 goals in the 90th minute. And that's everything everyone needs, right? More goals in the 90th minute. Must be scripting or handicap. However, there were also 3 goals in the 73rd minute. Now, this is a very, very small sample size. It's 12 games. It is essentially meaningless. However, just to give a scope of things, there was more goals scored between the 70th and 80th minute than in any 10-minute bracket in all the games I played. Isn't that interesting? It wasn't the 80th to 90th minute. There was as many goals in the 90th minute as there were in the 73rd minute. And again, bear in mind, one of those 90th minute goals was actually 89 minutes and some seconds, which in football terms is a 90th minute, and 2 of them were into stoppage time. So if we actually broke it down to the 91st minute, the 92nd minute, the 93rd minute, and the 94th minute, the most goals would have come in the 73rd minute, not in the 90th minute. There's something to be said about how and why you feel like you score and concede more in the 90th. I think a lot of it is just a mental process right now of people going, oh my god, I've conceded in the 90th, of course it's the 90th. I think that's there because you don't concede in like the 72nd minute and go like, oh my god, I've conceded in the 72nd minute again. What is this? Like, it just doesn't register. It doesn't log in your mindset. But in the 45th minute and 90th minute, it does. There's also something to be said that in the 45th and 90th minutes is when people who are desperate for a win will go more attacking, more aggressive, which will not only mean that they could potentially score more goals, but it also leaves them more vulnerable to concede more goals. So again, I'm not necessarily saying there aren't more goals in the 45th or the 90th minute. It's very likely that there are more goals in the 45th and the 90th minute, but I don't think personally it's because EA are trying to do something to screw people over. I think it's just because that's how the natural mechanics of playing FIFA work. I don't think you could really dispute that. Do AIDS happen in the 90th minute? Yes, but are you seriously telling me that you only ever concede strange goals or only ever score strange goals in the 90th minute? I know for sure as hell that's not true for me. I've played a lot of games of FIFA this year and I have scored and conceded weird goals all the time, every time. Never only in the 90th minute. I would also again just like ask people to consider, when they bash EA, or even if they don't bash EA, but just consider what EA have done with FIFA and how many mistakes they make in this game. I can't understand how people can think that they could code perfectly something like this into the game. You know, how can they code, oh, okay, so if you've got possession of the ball in the 90th minute, we're just going to make the opposing team garbage. We're going to make that shot hit off the goalkeeper's arm, off his back, off his face, off the crossbar, hits your defender on the toe, flies up a million miles in the air, the goalkeeper comes and flaps it, but instead of flapping it out, he just smashes it into his own net. How can they possibly code that when they can't even code an arrow to be consistently there for penalties? That's my personal opinion. I personally don't think that they have the capabilities to create something so divine in the game with such like precision. I don't think that they can do it personally. I just don't think so. But that's neither here nor there. So for me, I think it was important to talk about the 45th and 90th minute in that sense. And as I said, I'm going to create a spreadsheet which I will start at the next game that I play, and I will leave a link to in the description below. It won't be in there this time. It'll be in a video in a couple of videos time, I guess. That literally tracks all of my stats. We'll track goals conceded, goals scored, the time of the goal, and the scores of the games at the times of the goals. Because then it will give a truer breakdown of you know, am I conceding the 90th minute goals when I'm 1-0 up, or when it's 0-0, or when it's 1-0 down? Because if you're like 5-0 up and you concede the 90th minute goal, you probably don't even register it, because hey, you've still won the game 5-0, 5-1, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. But I want to try and start seeing if there is a true correlation between when goals are scored and the results that are currently happening in the game. Because if we can do that, we can get some true data to either back up our claims, or back up the claims of those that believe it exists, or to dispute those claims and say, well, actually, no, look, we've got the evidence here to prove that this just isn't true. And I would ask you guys, if you have the time and if you have the knowledge of Excel, or if you just know a way to be able to do it real easy, you do it too, and send me your data. Send me your data every 10th game you've played. After 10 games, send me what yours looks like, because it would be amazing to get lots of input from lots of people on when their goals are scored, when their goals are conceded, and under what circumstances their goals are scored and conceded. So if you guys want to be involved in that, that would be awesome. And I think it would be an important experiment for the community, because on the one hand, it could just go to a long way to saying, look guys, we've recorded the data over, you know, hundreds if not thousands of games, and there doesn't seem to be any correlation here to what people are saying, or at least not like a huge discrepancy in the correlation. Alternatively, it could be a point where it's like, holy crap, look at that. When people are 3-0 up or 3-0 down, there's 6% goals scored in the 45th and 90th minute, but when they're 1-0 up or 1-0 down, there's 17% goals scored or conceded in the 90th minute. That would then give us cause to go to EA and say, hey, look, like, we've got the data, there's something here. Because at the moment, it's like somebody feels like it happens, or you know, that one occasion in all the games you played in all day, that one occasion you get screwed over in a game that you felt like you should have won because of a cheese goal in the 90th minute, and you're like, scripting, obviously. Like, you know, like, it would give us more impact to actually go anywhere, to EA or to anywhere, with some actual tangible evidence that we can say, look, this has to be a thing because of this reason. Bear in mind, again though, there will be a higher percentage of goals scored in the 45th and 90th minutes, just like Ronaldo has scored a higher percent of his goals in the 45th and 90th minutes, because they are the longest minute. So there has to be, that has to be taken into consideration when looking at the stats. With that being said, there's also a few other things that I wanted to talk about it. Ryan Armitage says, Nep, it exists. Scripting, bullshit, every single game I've played. And I was reading a few threads on Reddit, and my name was mentioned a bit just because of the video that I made. And the general consensus is that when I have my opinion on these things, I'm not willing to listen to others. And if I came across like that, I apologize. That's not my intention. My intention is genuinely to get to the bottom of this, no matter what way it works around. I personally don't believe in it, but I'm not dismissing the idea of those who do believe in it. I'm trying to give reason as to why the things happen when they happen, because I don't believe in it. It's not me saying, I'm right, you're wrong, and here's why. It's me saying, I think I'm right, and I think you're wrong, and here's why. I'm not saying for sure I am right or I am wrong, because if you go back to FIFA 12, I was in your boat. I literally used to sit there and I would argue until I was blue in the face that scripting or handicap or momentum had to exist. Because how could it not? Because I feel these things. I feel, you know, there's a game where something's happening and all of a sudden the game shifts. There's no explanation for that other than EA taking control, right? Well, not right. And this is, again, there was somebody posted this on Reddit and he was just dismissed instantly. And it was such a logical reason as to why it happened. And he was dismissed as a person with a thought or with a value in the community, just because people want to still believe. And he basically said, like, you know, people say, well, how come, like, some games, you know, I'll be like 1 or 2-0 up, and then all of a sudden in like the 70th minute, I just can't touch the ball. Did you ever consider that it could possibly be because your opponent changed something? You know, that, like, you are playing against a human that has input that isn't static or stable. When you play against the AI, it does the same thing all the time, and even then it doesn't, because I think there actually is dynamic adaptive ability in offline. But when you've played 70 minutes of a game and it's following the same routine over the 70 minutes, and then all of a sudden that routine changes, it's not too unbelievable to assume that EA are doing that. It's not too unbelievable to sit there and say, whoa, something's changed here. I've been smashing this guy. EA is screwing me again. I do it myself, even though I don't believe in scripting. I still sit there and be like, I can't put a pass together. But the guy on Reddit showed a thread of how someone's team looks against yours when they are unbalanced, and then how someone's team looks against yours when they are on all-out attack. And the team is far more high pressure, more aggression, and they're trying to steal the ball back. So it might be a case where the first 70 minutes you're able to play it around your midfield casually because your opponent's just on a balanced mentality. All of a sudden, he's 2-0 down in the 70th. He flicks to ultra attacking because he's like, holy crap, if I don't do something here, I'm going to just lose this game. Now, all of a sudden, he's made some changes and you haven't adapted because you're expecting the same thing to happen because it's happened for 70 minutes. So you're sitting there thinking that EA are screwing you, when in actuality, your opponent has made a change that has impacted him positively and you haven't made a change to counter that, that impact. So what's happening now is he's far more aggressive, far more pressured, and is winning the ball back a lot more consistently, and sometimes they'll get back into the game and sometimes they won't. And there was a comment again that that read, I was using a shitty team with Andre Gomez as my star. I was losing 4-0 and at the 70th minute I went all out attack and ended up winning 5-4. Is that momentum or scripting? Again, in my opinion, no. You've actually noted the change that you made that then made a change in the game. Is it unreasonable to score 5 goals in 20 in-game minutes? Sure. Like, you know, that's a lot of goals in 20 in-game minutes, but some people cannot deal with high aggression and high pressure in this game. There have been many games that I've played in FUT Champs, in Draft, where I'm casually beating someone, and all of a sudden they're trying to get back in the game, they go all out attack, and even though I know they only have like 1 or 2 defenders back and I should be able to hit them on the counter regularly, because they're so high up the field and so pressured, I can't get out. So every time I'm trying to make the simple pass, there's someone there to mark it, there's someone there to intercept the ball and get it. And then all of a sudden, what do you know? They score a goal, they're feeling good, they stay there. You know, what we have to do as FIFA players isn't to sit there and say, EA is screwing me. Like, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to say you're wrong and I'm right. This is my opinion and how I view it personally. In my opinion, when something is going wrong, or when something was going right that is now going wrong, it's on us as the FIFA player to try and recognize what's changed and adapt our game to that. And the easiest way to do that is to listen to the in-game commentary. I have it on mute, right? Because I just don't like it. I get bored of it. However, in the game commentary, they tell you when things change. If your opponent changes from balanced to attacking or ultra attacking, the commentator will note it. He'll say, you know, the losing team, there looks like they're pushing a bit higher up the field now to try and get back into this game. At that point, the game has told you that your opponent has done something. It's literally telling you, it's warning you, it's saying, hey buddy, whatever you were doing that was working is probably not going to work anymore. So then it should be on you to be like, okay, he's changed to attacking, what should I do? You then can pause the game, go and either change formation or just mentally know that he's attacking, so to play a much safer game and try and wind the clock down. I don't mean go and stand in the corner and shield it, because that's just, you know, don't be that guy, basically. What I mean is take care with your passes. Make sure you hold the ball, hold the possession well, whilst trying to see the game out and like basically countering what he's done to try and get back into the game. That again is my opinion, and it takes me back to the point that I make constantly, is that if one person can do it, it can be done. Now there seems to be like a little bit of negative connotations around what I'm saying here, because I'm saying if Gorilla can get 40 games won in a row, everyone therefore has the possibility. People say, but he's just too good at the game. But that's then saying, isn't it, that there is a skill that allows you, a skill cap that allows you to beat whatever you may think is in the game. You just need to also get that good at the game. Because if you get that good at the game, then it's not going to affect you either. Oh, but I can't get that good at the game. Well, then is it not then your skill? Like, I don't see how this logic is flawed. There was a thread on Reddit about me saying how this is the most retarded logic anyone's ever heard. I don't. And the logic he used was that a millionaire just says to a guy who's homeless, oh, you just got to work hard like I did and you become a millionaire. It's not the same. It's not the same thing. However, I still would be hard pressed to assume that you can't become a millionaire if you work hard. If you dedicate your life to just making money, you can make money. If you go and learn everything you need to learn about investments and stocks and trading, gambling, anything you need to be able to finance yourself, you can make millions if you apply yourself in the right way, right? It's possible. It's possible. I'm telling you, it's possible. It's not easy. Of course it's not easy, because then everyone would be a millionaire. It's not easy, but it's possible. Anyone in the world, anyone in the free world has the ability to become a millionaire if they apply themselves correctly and take it seriously as a lifetime achievement of, I want to become a millionaire. They can do it. Just the same way as anyone that wants to become huge gorilla at FIFA, there's a few other things that impact the way FIFA's played that are just natural resources that you may not have, and we'll go through those in a second. But anyone that wants to be that good, if they apply themselves to becoming that good, they can become that good. You might say, oh, I don't have the time to play that many games. I don't have the time to sit there and learn everything. Well, then that's your bad. In my opinion, again, that's your bad. That's your bad that you don't have it in you to go and learn what's required to beat the handicap. Which again, I don't think, or beat the script, I don't think is in the game. I just think it's when things change. When your opponent changes something, I think that's, personally for me, that's what happens. So, you know, the one thing I will say, like I said, like the natural resources, there are certain things in it that you can't really change other than through experience and practice, and that's like reflexes. Like in games, in competitive gaming specifically, hand-eye coordination and reflexes are impeccably important. In League of Legends, they typically retire by the age of 23 or 24. Not so much for some of the support roles, but for the carry roles, they retire by the age of 23 or 24 because they don't have the reflexes or the hand-eye coordination to compete with the 18, 19-year-olds anymore. How crazy is that? We're talking about such a young age bracket where they just can't, they literally can't physically compete in the computer game anymore because they don't have what's required. If you're like 20 or 21 or 22 or even 16 and your reflexes and your hand-eye coordination aren't refined as much as the next man, you're simply never going to be able to be as good as him until you either learn how to refine those things or you're just not going to be able to be as good as him. So there are certain things that could personally, you know, could hinder the way someone works, like somebody plays regardless. Like I don't personally think I'll ever be able to be as good as the players like Huge Gorilla, because I'm 32 years old. I'm a lot older than the young people. Like I said with League of Legends, my reflexes, the time it takes my brain to process the thought for me to press the button that I want to press it might only be a 1/10 or 1/100th of a second slower than yours, but that's enough to be game changing at times. The other thing that I want to mention real quickly is Marius Hierpsith said whilst we were discussing things off stream the other night, and he used to work for EA, he said you got bad connection, bad luck, and bad players. Those are the three things that define things in FIFA. And what I think that happens a lot in people that believe in scripting and believe in momentum is that they will allow something that is either bad connection or bad luck to define the game they're playing. You know, they may be dominating a guy and be 1-0 up, and then he creates that one chance and he scores a shady goal where he takes a shot and it just flies off the back of your player's boot into the top bins. And you now immediately, because of what the FIFA community has kind of like trained itself to believe, you immediately now believe that you are being scripted against or handicapped against. But what I think it is it was just bad luck. On that occasion, you was just unlucky that the ball hit the foot of your defender and went and screwed off into the goal. And the reason why I'm happy to believe that personally again is because there are so many occasions where good luck favours me in this game. There are so many occasions where bad luck favours me in the game, and more often than not, it's due to broken game mechanics, not due to scripting, handicap, or momentum. You know, there are certain things that we know are broken in this game. For example, I know that if I'm in an angle where I can't score from, but I do a low driven across the goal, I know the keeper will parry it out. It's then whether or not my player is there to tap in the rebound or the defensive player is there to clear it. But more often than not, because of the way that the defense is set up and the attack is set up, more often than not, it's the attacker who's there. So if I'm able to manipulate the game to allow me to get those shots and get those rebounds. I know my opponent's sitting there going mental, saying, oh my god, a rebound goal, why couldn't the keeper save it, why didn't the defender clear it, this game is against me. I know he's sitting there feeling that, because I feel that too when I feel like it goes against me. But ultimately it was me outplaying him because I abused a game mechanic that I know is broken. So again, I'm not dismissing people who believe in scripting or believe in handicap or believe in momentum. I'm just trying to offer alternative thought process as to why it may well have screwed you over. You know, I've had those games and I see those screenshots where people have had like 15 shots and 12 on target and they lose 1-0 to a guy with 1 shot and none on target. Yes, that is unbelievably frustrating. But when I watch my games back of those, what I noticed is after a few shots, whether this morale thing's in the game or not is irrelevant. What I personally noticed with myself and my gameplay is that after a few shots, I start to get anxious. I can see it in my gameplay. I start to take a few extra long shots, or I hesitate to take a shot, and then what ends up happening is the defender gets a bit closer, I try and rush a shot and I end up taking a really, really weak shot and the keeper just saves it easily. Like, there are so many things that mentally change the way you play based on what you think could be in the game, that it actually starts to hinder your play without actually being in the game. It's almost like a phantom scripting. We'll call it phantom scripting because it's almost like, in my opinion, there isn't scripting in the game, but if you tell yourself enough that the game is going against you, you will believe the game is going against you, and it will impact the way you're playing. There's something that's genuinely in this world that is like, it's called like a phantom illness or something. If you tell yourself enough that you are ill, that you have a cold, your body will start to believe that you have a cold, so it will start creating the antibodies to fight a cold, which will actually make you ill. How crazy is that? That's a real thing. Google that. That exists. Like, if you start telling yourself something, it will happen. If you wake up every morning and tell yourself, I'm happy today, and smile, you will start to believe that you're happy, and you will just be happier. Okay, being happy is not like just a straight line. It's something that's interchangeable with things that happen in your day-to-day life. But if you tell yourself, I'm happy today, your body will release the endorphins that make you feel happy. In the same way in FIFA, and I know this may just sound like absolute nonsense to so many of you, but in the same way in FIFA, if you tell yourself, this game is against me on this occasion, you will start to believe the game is against you. It will impact how you play, and it will benefit your opponent without him even doing anything different. So you got to be of the mindset always that it's not against you. It's just an unfortunate circumstance that you may have conceded on that occasion because of that unlucky reason. I think another thing that people believe is in handicap, right? So people believe that if you've got a high rated team, you get handicapped, you get punished for having those, and the game tries to match the players to be a bit closer. So a lot of pros bronze bench, just in case that's in the game, as some of them believe it is in the game. For the IG Sturridge that we played a couple episodes ago, he uses a 190 rated team. There was also somebody that went onto Reddit who's going to regionals in January who has a 187 and a 188 rated team, and he ends up winning 37 or 38 games a weekend. There's enough to suggest that handicap isn't a thing, or if it is a thing, it's not so much, it's not like the boost that your opponent may get and the reduction that you may get isn't so much so that it makes it an unbalanced game. It just doesn't, right? What's also super interesting to me is the amount of people that look at someone's team, and then, like, sometimes I post my team. If I posted this team and be like, I won 32 games this weekend, people are like, how the hell did you not win 40 games with that team? You can't be of the opinion that if you've got an incredible team, you should be winning 40 out of 40, and also be of the opinion that you get handicapped. You can't have both ways. You know what I mean? There has to be a middle ground somewhere. There has to be a ground that says, maybe it's just skill. Maybe it is just a combination of bad luck, bad connection, and bad players. Or maybe, and this is my opinion, I have two theories on something like handicapping. First of all, I don't believe the disparity in stats is as important or impressive as people make out to be. I don't think the difference in, you can tell the ones that are super important is pace. You can tell the difference between 70 pace and 99 pace. That's important. But I don't think you can tell the difference between 70 short passing and 99 short passing. I don't think you can tell the difference between you know, 50 stand tackle and 75 stand tackle. So when defensive-minded midfielder or a midfielder has, you know, huge improvement in stats compared to another midfielder, I don't think it's easy to tell the difference between them in spite of the visual rating that you get. I don't think the in-game ability of that player is head and shoulders. And this will be shown in tomorrow or the next video when I built a team for the tournament that was required 3 leagues minimum and 3 nations minimum. And I didn't have a third league, so I just put a bronze English left back at left back. And because we were streaming, there was a bit of hype about him. So do you know what I did? I put him up front. He's what was his name? His name was Kenlock. Let me go into Foothead and get Kenlock shooting, right? Because Miles Kenlock is a left back, and he has 32 overall shooting, 26 finishing, 39 shot power. I scored a hat-trick with him. And it just goes to show again that just because he has low finishing, it doesn't mean he can't finish. You know, people were like, how the hell has this guy's Balassi scored and my Ronaldo missed? Well, maybe it was just a shot choice that guy took with the Balassi that abused the game mechanics that was important. And the other thing that I think is a reason as to why people think that there may be some sort of handicap is because when the AI controls your players, the stats that are user controlled are irrelevant. The stats that are AI controlled are relevant. So positioning, interceptions, marking, aggression, stamina, those things are important to the AI control players because as Mario said again, when he's controlling a player, it doesn't matter what their shooting really is or what their passing really is because he's the one in control. He knows how to adapt to fit that player. I knew how to score with Kenlock, a guy with 32 shooting, because I know how broken the shooting mechanics work. So it made it easy for me to shoot with him. The difference would be is if I let the AI shoot with him, they wouldn't score with him. So again, I think a lot of handicap comes down to how good you are with the player that you have versus how good the AI is with the players that the player you're playing against isn't controlling. And I want to talk about that more after this current weekend league on Foot Champs because I've applied some chem styles to hopefully benefit and boost me and my chances throughout Foot Champs. But this, guys, is going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can appreciate where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to get across. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.